Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Doing Rye on Listen Up. Oh my goodness, Rye. What do we have? We have an Elite Eight matchup. It's actually only down to what, 6 teams though, after today, I believe. I might be
Yeah.
wrong on that. But this is it. This is it. I, you know, oh my, they might hate us after this, but we have predictions coming last. We're just Ryan, we're just under 24 hours until tip off. So I will see you right back here very late tomorrow night. Let's go over very quickly before you get into it, the preview, how USC got here, how they got here. We know how UConn got here. How did USC get here? Ryan, they rolled into the NCAA tournament first round previously before that game against Texas A&M CC. They beat number one Stanford in the Pac-12 tournament. So Ryan, they in the first round they defeated Texas A&M CC. They were number 16 seed, no problem. Second round they rolled over number 8 Kansas. Sweet 16 they beat Nikki Collins ladies, and that was number 5 Baylor yesterday, matter of fact. And now they have to face, according to Gino, the best player in the country, and that's Paige Bueckers and the UConn Huskies tomorrow, Ryan, at 9:15. You know, I saw credit the Los Angeles Times for this article. It read JuJu versus Paige. JuJu versus Paige? No, it's USC versus UConn in the Elite Eight. Um, I really like that. What do you think about that headline? And then what do you have in your notebook um, prior to this matchup? Only reason why I ask you that, Ryan, is because consider if you shut down Juju and Paige. Now, I know, I get it. I don't want to talk like this, but we have witnessed Paige Bueckers kind of sort of get shut down. She's not going to be perfect every game, but you saw what happened when she got shut out of the game, like big time. Notre Dame, rather, but they're gone now. They're home. When they visit UConn, we've seen teams take Paige Bueckers right out of the game. So I'm asking you, yeah, it's definitely USC. I would lean on USC versus UConn rather than just Juju versus Page, because what if you shut these two guards down in this game? Who's next in line?
Well, it's always, nice to focus on the big name players or the stars of the game, the star matchups, but it's always important to remember everybody else. And like I said,
Mm,
during the game recap, the freshman guards for UConn are definitely going to have to step up. And the same way for USC, the other players not named JuJu Watkins are going to have to step up too, if indeed, like you said, that she gets shut down. But yeah, South Carolina and NC State both advanced today, so they will be facing each other in their Final Four matchup. But it's the USC Trojans that stand in the way of UConn making the Final Four. UConn was unable to defeat a team ranked in the top 15 during the regular season. Can they do it when it matters the most? It's definitely not going to be easy. And these two past games for UConn have been a struggle to get by, but they have been able to prevail so far. You just have to wonder, especially after last night's game, how much energy do they have left in the tank, and do they have enough to take down the number one seed USC and JuJu Watkins, who was second in the nation in points per game during the regular season. So far during the tournament, she scored 23, 28, and 30 in the 3 games that they've played so far. However, it was not easy against Baylor in the Sweet 16. They actually had to come from behind in the fourth quarter of that game to beat the Baylor Bears. Alongside the star freshman guard, our senior guards Mackenzie Forbes and Kayla Padilla, Caitlin Davis and Rhea Marshall round out the starting five for the Trojans. And the starting five or excuse me, Rhea Marshall in the starting five had an 11.16 rebound game against Baylor to also help USC advance. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup inside for Aaliyah. I think it's also going to be a challenge for UConn to rebound the ball. It's going to take all-out effort from the Huskies, and I think it starts on the defensive side, trying to limit Watkins, and then on the boards as well, fighting for every rebound. Paige also can't continue to do everything for UConn. Like I said, Ashland needs to get back in the groove like she did the first two games for UConn, and KK has to also continue being aggressive, especially on offense for the Huskies as well.
Credit LA Times again for this. Since USC last made the Elite Eight in 1994, the Huskies have won 11 national championships to rise as the dominant power that was a magnet for almost every top recruit. And again, that's from the LA Times. Ryan, that goes to show you a lot of teams. I've seen it on the men's side too. Like a lot of teams starting to reach the Elite Eight, Final Four. Now I don't know about national championship game. I don't know about that yet, since it's not here. But it's about a week away for the men's and women's. We're starting to see now, Ryan, a lot of these teams, they haven't came this far since the 80s, since the 90s. So again, it's a beautiful thing to see for these programs. But we all know who we're rooting for on this side, huh? And we are familiar with what happened. I keep going back to that Notre Dame game because, again, I just can't, even though Notre Dame is sitting home now watching everybody else, can't get it out of my mind. I just can't, as hard as I try, Ron, I can't do it. What are the keys? You know, this question was coming for you. What are the keys to stopping the all-star, and that's JuJu? How do you stop her from the get-go? Because again, I expect a very close game down the stretch in the fourth quarter, a higher score. At least I'm hoping from UConn, because I think they're going to need it. I don't think 50-some points are going to cut it, but they've struggled. It's no secret. They've struggled against the nation, some of the top guards in the nation. How do they shut down JuJu?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not going to be easy because she's so good at shooting the outside shot, but she can also drive into the lane and make those tough shots amongst the trees, as I like to say, which would be Aaliyah Edwards, I guess, for UConn. But she's a great all-around player. But luckily for UConn, that they usually somehow always find a way, and I guess it starts with Nika Mule most of the time, just shutting down the opposing team's best scorer. They did it against Duke last night and Reagan Richardson. So, if they can continue to do that and somehow find a way to limit JuJu, I think it's going to be inside the paint. I think if UConn can kind of limit USC inside the paint and force them to take tough outside contested shots, and if they make them, fair play to USC if they make, a lot of contested outside shots. But, I think that's the key for UConn, to not let USC just, beat them up around the paint, inside the paint. And, not a lot of second chance points either. It doesn't feel good losing to a team that gets a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of second chance points. And I think for UConn, if they can get out into transition, they're so good running opponents off the floor, I guess, in transition. And I think that starts with KK Arnold a lot of the times too. Watching her all season in the tournament, her speed has been really special. So I think that's one of the big keys for UConn.
Yeah, they're arguably going to have the biggest game of the season. And I guess we're going to find ourselves saying that if they survive and move on, we're probably going to say that for the next, 3 games left. So hopefully the next 3 games. They opened by, I guess the line is still 3.5. They opened last night by a 3.5 favorite, UConn, that is. I was kind of surprised. I was going to ask you what you think about it. But again, I just think, I've talked so much about Paige Bueckers now. It's kind of weird, right? Because again, yeah, she needs to have a big game. But I'll tell you what, right now, you're right about KK Arnold stepping up even more than she already has. Even though KK Arnold's been a masterpiece, she's been brilliant for this squad this season thus far, all the freshmen, the whole team. But I like to see Aaliyah Edwards. I don't know what, it's hard to tell, right? Because especially when it comes down to Elite Eight, Final Four, national title, what are the plans on the other side of the ball if you're USC? Do they guard down low? Do they try to stop Aaliyah Edwards all game? do they try to take Paige Bueckers out? So Ryan, I could sit here and tell you Aaliyah Edwards needs to get going the whole game in the first quarter. She needs it, but you don't know. I mean, if you're double team, how are you? Again, they're athletes. Let's student athletes. Remind everybody of that. And again, not perfect. Nobody is. But again, Ryan, if you're double teamed in basketball, no matter what level, I don't see how you can. If you're a fan of the team and they're struggling, I don't see how you can raise heck. I mean, they're doing the best they can. But again, it all comes down to the game plan. We don't know. None of us know what are they going to do against UConn.
Well, I'm really surprised none of the opponents that UConn's faced so far has really tried to just drive inside the lane more than what they have, especially knowing that UConn's lack of depth and like we saw
Don't
last
say
game.
it now. You're giving. Don't say it now. You're giving it away. No, I'm just kidding.
But with Aaliyah's foul trouble, that really hurt UConn last night against Duke, and then when Nika went out against Syracuse, we saw Syracuse go on a run at the end of the game, and when Aaliyah went out, Duke went on a run at the end of the game. So, if one of the players in the starting lineup at anybody goes out for UConn, it's obviously going to be a struggle. So, that's why I say I think it's so important for UConn to defend inside the paint and obviously not foul if all possible. But hopefully that doesn't happen where USC just continues to drive the ball, get UConn into foul trouble, because then we might see the game kind of get away from UConn a little bit.
All right, Adam Edmonds said, I got the first like on the video. Hey, we appreciate that. Keep liking the videos, subscribe, and comment away. Arthur said, it's about time I give you credit for this, Ryan. You picked a national champion last year, and you're about to do it, I think, this year on the men's side. Arthur said, kudos to the UConn men. Game tied at 23 during the first half. UConn goes on a 30-0 run. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is just incredible, and I was watching that game before the UConn women's game, and it is just incredible. I don't even know what word to use to describe the men's team, how good they are, and they lost a couple players, got a couple guys, and to win back to back is pretty pretty tough to do, and they're in a pretty good position to do it again. So I picked them last year. They won it as a 4 seed, number 1 overall seed this year. I picked them again. So hopefully they can run it back again this year.
Okay, John said nothing went wrong. Enjoy the game and the fact that UConn is moving on and they only used basically 5 players.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully UConn, pretty much slept the whole day today and can get rested up for, in less than 24 hours for now. But, I think it's important for UConn to also move on, forget about the shooting woes from last night, just have a blank slate going into this game and really regroup. It's not that they really played bad. I think it was just an off night from both teams, and you're going to have that. So hopefully that was UConn's one off night, and hopefully we see the offense just explode, get back to a lot of great ball movement, a lot of great shooting from not just Paige but everybody on the floor.
All right, and how about one more? Jason said at the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter, Paige and company were gassed. Paige looked like she had nothing left in the tank. That is concerning because I noticed the same thing in the Syracuse game. Defense was the answer tonight for sure. How the heck did Duke beat Ohio State? Congrats to our Huskies. Peace.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. I don't know either, but yeah, I think it's obviously not going to be easy to, I think UConn is low on energy. So like I said, hopefully they're rested up. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy, but I think if they can get their offense going, but like Jason said, that the defense is going to be key. I think it's what wins most of their games. Even though Paige and Aaliyah are so explosive on offense, I think defense is really what starts for most of the time for them.
I know I said one more, but how about one more, Ryan? Best for last. And we do appreciate everybody. We read all the comments, but only time for one more. How about the best for last? Marcia Clark so happy the Huskies pulled out the W in this one. It wasn't always pretty, but they pulled it out. Nika was the unsung hero. She did so many good things on the floor that went unnoticed. I worry about the late games. USC doesn't seem as tired, and UConn sometimes struggles with late games. Let's get UConn some energy for the next one. JuJu Watkins and the Ivy Leaguers are no joke, but it's not just JuJu. Mackenzie Forbes is an amazing player, and the other players also contribute big time. UConn needs to lock down on defense. Edwards needs to play big and not get into foul trouble. Paige needs to play her best game, and the others need to play confidently to contribute with scoring, but USC might still be too much. They are no joke, but you never know. Get your nachos ready.
Yeah, it is true. It would be technically 6:30 for USC, but yeah, I think everybody for UConn's probably gonna have to play their best game of the season. And I think if nobody gets into foul trouble, we probably won't see any subs at all during this game. Maybe Ice Brady for about 5 minutes if nobody gets into foul trouble. So it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna have to be all out effort for all the starters on UConn.
Ryan, the knowledge Marcia carries, it's kind of stunning to me. I mean, you have it. Not saying anything bad about you, but how about let's comment and tell Marcia to join us this summer for some scouting reports. And why don't she draw up some more scouting reports pre-game? Because I tell you what, and that leads us into predictions. It's kind of wild that I leave off on her comment. I guess you can go first. I don't even want to go right now.
Well, I think this will be a close game. UConn will manage to keep it close for a while, but in the end, I think UConn will run out of gas. USC will be too much, and the Trojans defeat the Huskies 68-60. And like I said, this was the only Elite Eight matchup that I correctly predicted in my bracket, and I did pick USC over UConn, so I'm gonna stick with that and go USC 68, UConn 60.
All right. Credit Gino Auriemma, Chris Daly, Jamel Elliott, Morgan Valley, Tanya Cardoza, and Ben Cantor. The reason I'm saying all the names, Ryan, because I don't think they get enough credit. Again, we sit here and talk about the play. And again, it comes down to the players. But, yeah, what they've done carrying this team into the Elite Eight, I have thought about it last night. I've thought about it this morning. I've thought about it at church, mind you, Easter Mass. I thought about it at church, this matchup, and I'm, praying down on my knees, right? Yeah, I really hope I'm wrong, first of all. Second of all, it kills me to do this. I have to say I wasn't going to lean your way. I really wasn't. It's a lot more. It brings the fun to it when you and I can guess different teams, but we knew it was going to come down to this sooner or later. Just a prediction. We get it. Tomorrow night's going to come quicker rather than later. USC. I'll take USC in this one. A heartbreaker. I get it. Final score. I'll go 70-68. 70-68 USC over UConn.
Yeah, like you said, hopefully we're wrong, but I think it's at least going to be a close game. So I think it'll be a competitive game, but I think in the end, USC is going to be too much, and I think UConn's been struggling with the top teams all season. So like I said, hopefully they can finally get over that hump when it matters the most.
Okay, I'm done. Let's get to bed, Ryan, and you can cut it off right there.